Hello guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel X Moto Wheelers. Today is all about Honda 400cc, the scream of a 4-cylinder engine on this Honda CB400SF. The client wanted overhaul of the engine, whereby an overhaul is a comprehensive service during which the complete bike is disassembled, bearings cleaned or replaced, drivetrain cleaned and cables and housing replaced. After reassembly, every system is tuned to perfection. How often should you overhaul a bike? Everyday bike, your drivetrain will take its share of wear and tear as well. Frequent drivetrain cleanings will help improve performance and increase the lifespan of your components. Plan on getting the bike overhauled every 3-5,000 miles or so. Is it worth rebuilding a bike? High cost. The relatively high overall cost of fixing an old bike is the main reason people don't want to do it, but at the same time I said it's good I do a review of this CB400's. How well do you know the history of CB400? The Honda CB400SF is a classically designed, high build quality and easy to ride yet exciting standard that keeps people entertained for a long time, not just while they're learning to ride. Before this CB400 there was other Honda 400cc inline 4s bikes. Honda has been making 400cc inline 4-cylinder standards for a long time. Of course, standard bikes were just motorcycles a few decades ago. At some point, we started noticing differences like foot positioning or the presence of fairings, and started calling bikes different things. So we can just say that Honda has been making 400cc motorcycles for a while. Before the modern generations of the CB400F, there were some other models that had most things in common but differed in some fundamental ways. Number 1. Honda CB400F. Year 1974 to 1977. The first 400cc 4-cylinder motorcycle that Honda made was in 1974, the Honda CB400F. It was made through to 1977. Honda produced the CB400F from 1975 to 1977. It was based around an air-cooled transverse-mounted 408cc inline 4-cylinder engine with 2 valves per cylinder. Number 2. That was produced as Honda CBR400NC17 in year 1983. In 1983 Honda made a sport motorcycle, still a naked, with a 399cc 4-cylinder engine. These CBR400 motorcycles were powered by a 399cc 16-valve air-cooled DOHC engine with a rotational speed valve stop mechanism called rev that changed the valves that opened from 2 to 4 at 8,500 revolutions per minute, an early version of VTEC. Then we came to number 3, Honda CB1. Year 1989 to 1990. The CB1 sounds like it'd be a huge motorcycle, like the big one of the mid-90s, but actually it was very similar conceptually to the modern CB400. Now let's look to the modern Honda CB400 motorcycles. Model history. The modern Honda CB400 range as we know it started in 1992. These were liquid-cooled 399cc 4-cylinder standard bikes. They all made around 40 kilowatts, 53 bhp, somewhere north of 10,000 revolutions per minute. This was the first generation of Honda CB400 motorcycles. They all had side draft constant velocity carburetors and chain-driven cams with a 12,500 revolutions per minute deadline. Before the next version, 1999, these bikes didn't have VTEC. The next version was Honda CB400SF Hyper VTEC. Year 1999 to 2007. Honda also made some other changes to the YEAR1999 CB400SF Hyper VTEC, including using a lightweight aluminium muffler, reducing the wheelbase by 40 mm, adding suspension from the CBR900RR for better handling during its tenure. Honda made various updates to the carburetor-fed CB400SF Hyper VTEC. Year 2002 VTEC Spec 2. Honda changed the VTEC system to trigger at 6,300 revolutions per minute, revised the ignition timing map, and added a revised LCD dash with a fuel gauge. Honda also added some lightweight components, e.g. brake calipers, from the CBR900RR, and his security. Year 2004 VTEC Spec 3. Honda revised the VTEC system, leaving the trigger at 6,300 revolutions per minute for most gears, but changing it to 6,750 revolutions per minute for 6th gear. Honda also updated the front suspension, and made various aesthetic improvements. Year 2005. Honda added preload adjustability for the front suspension. Honda also made available the fared CB400 Super Bold door from this year onward. The next version was Honda CB400SF Hyper VTEC Revo year 2008 onward. The CB400SF comes in a few incarnations, naked, with a fairing, and somewhere in between. In a nutshell, the year 2008 CB400SF got number 1 revised VTEC operation that takes into account throttle position. The previous iterations only took into account engine speed and gear. Number 2 fuel injection replacing carburetors, with fuel mapping that could keep up with the VTEC Revo system. Number 3 optional combined ABS. It's a little hard to find the specs for the important bits online, so I thought I'd include them here in detail. Here are specs for the Honda CB400SF Hyper VTEC Revo engine is 399cc liquid-cooled inline 416 valve bore X-stroke is 55.0 by 42.0 compression ratio is 11.3 peak power is 41 kilowatts 56 PS 55 bhp at 11,000 revolutions per minute. Peak torque is 39 Nm 29 feet lb at 9,500 revolutions per minute. Front tire is 120/60 ZR17M C 55W. Rear tire is 160/60 ZR17M C 69W. Front suspension is conventional telescopic fork with steepless preload adjustment. Rear suspension is Showa shock with reservoir. 5-step preload adjustment. Front brakes is 296mm dual floating discs with Nissan 4-piston calipers. Rear brakes is single disc, 2-piston caliper. To our big question of the day: should you get a Honda CB400SF? The first obstacle is that because these bikes are becoming more rare in markets other than Japan, you pay more for the privilege. You may find yourself paying as much for a 10-year-old bike with 20,4000 km on it as you would on a much newer Honda CB500F, a bike that will on paper outperform it, making more peak torque and lower in the rev range in many day-to-day situations. This brings us to the second obstacle. In terms of outright performance, they won't dramatically outperform a bike like the Kawasaki Ninja 400. In fact, the Ninja 400 is likely to do better in most situations, because it's a lighter bike that makes its similar peak torque a little lower. What these other bikes all lack, of course, is the Honda CB400SF's VTEC boost feeling, the scream of a 4-cylinder engine, the unique high-end design of the CB400SF, and the fact that you're riding a modern classic. If you like the video, please like it and subscribe to my channel X Moto Wheelers.